So Jasmine Taylor, we done had our fuck it moment, and you spoke about a couple of things as far as moving to Charlotte and being this media mogul that you are. Can you expand a little bit more about what are your plans while being here in Charlotte?
Okay, so let's run it back just a little bit. So my fucking moment, basically, again, I was a domestic violence victim, and my fucking moment was like, you know what? I can no longer be a victim. I have to be a survivor. But within that time of me actually being a victim, I then started building my brand as a media personality. So we're in 2025. So for the last 13 years, I've been a media personality. Way before that, I started off back home in New York City as a teen party promoter from like 14 years old. I'm 32 now. You know how people be like, oh, you can't tell your age. I have no problem telling my age because I look good. So, but so I started off, like I said, as a party promoter at 14 years old. Here I am years later. Shout out to Dizzy Brown. He asked me like, Jasmine, aren't you tired of like being a party promoter? Like you should probably look into doing internet radio. I'm like, whoa, internet radio. He's like, don't act like you're too shy. Me personally, I'm a Cancer. If you guys know Cancers, we have like this shell. And I'm the Cancer where publicly I'm kind of shy. But I didn't know what I was getting into, but I gave it a try. I said, you know what? The party scene is oversaturated, so I might as well look into becoming a radio host.
Now, what year was this, you would say?
So we're 13 years ago, we're in 2025. I'm not a mathematician, so yeah.
So this is kind of like that blog era.
This is really when people still was having magazines. Right. This is really when people were doing footwork still. It was like really before. So like a lot of people had platforms, but people, even including myself, we didn't understand marketing. We didn't understand branding. We didn't understand networking 100%.
Just running and gunning.
You know what I mean? So we were just like running around and it's like, yeah, I know you, you do this, like, let's get on, you know? But if a lot of us, including myself, like right now I'm only speaking for myself. If I knew what I knew if I knew what I knew now, then things would be different. And I say that to say,
who were some of the notable artists that you were running across while doing your thing?
So some of the notable artists that once I moved to North Carolina in 2019, December, I believe it was, I had the opportunity to interview Tusi. So I interviewed him. He's such a dope person. I interviewed Tusi. For the older crowd, I was able to interview Timo Goody from Goody Mob.
Dope.
If people know. Yes. Back home in New York, before Bobby Shmurda and them had gotten to their situations where he had to get arrested and do some time, I interviewed him. Jack Thriller. I've interviewed so many people to where it's like, to the girls who's into like the Ratchet TV. I've interviewed Roly Poly. So many people, even Too Rare, to the younger crowd, to the people who like to do all those dances, Too Rare. So I literally, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like, dang, I literally reach different crowds, and I'm proud of myself saying that. So, coming down here, I continued doing internet radio in Greensboro, but it ended up getting boring. I didn't feel inspired. I just felt like it was a repetitive situation. It felt very stagnant. I wanted more. So I'm like, you know what? Charlotte has always felt dear to me. Every time I would come visit, since like 2005, on and off, I would just always feel connected to Charlotte. I had a best friend who lived in Charlotte at the time, so even if I would come stay with her for a week, I'm like, damn, I feel at home, you know? Right, yeah. So I was like, Greensboro is full of, and no shade, but Greensboro is full of like college kids and retirees. Shout out to A&T Aggies, you know, and again, it's no shade. I'm just...
Their homecoming is legendary.
You know what I mean? Shout out to G-Ho, right. I'm not a HBCU grad or anything like that. So again, shout out to them, but that's just not something that I resonate with. So me being a college age kid or a retiree, I'm not in those two demographics.
Gotcha.
So I decided, you know what, Charlotte is a growing city as we see, whether people like it or not. A lot of people are here, and you have to get in where you fit in. So how I looked at coming to Charlotte is how when people were back in Atlanta, like if people know what they know, people were rushing to go to Atlanta because what Atlanta is now.
So I was going to ask you, what were some of your first impressions of Charlotte and the hip hop scene in general?
So the hip hop scene in Charlotte, of course, was new to me. I'm from up north, so it was new to me, but it's a familiar sound because I'm not like ignorant to hip hop. But I do feel like I feel like people are supportive of each other, I guess, from a different perspective. I do feel like from the events that I have gone to, artists show more love to each other than from what I'm familiar to. However, I feel like there's not enough people coming together to make these artists more popular, per se. Of course, we have platforms like you, and I love what you do.
Appreciate it.
Aside from, 102 Jams out there and whatever the stations is 98,
Right.
what other, what exactly 103, like what other stations or platforms are there that's really catering, So I feel like that's something that lacks in Charlotte, and that's what kind of is like, you know what, I'm going to get in where I fit in. I don't know how, but I'm going to get in where I fit in some way, somehow.
Because there's an ongoing debate I've been seeing online, social media. A lot of artists are feeling like, they can't come together. Or there's an issue preventing, there's a lot of talk of gatekeeping. There's a lot of talk of just not coming together. And Charlotte has such a vast musical scene that it's a shame that some of our well-known artists are making these complaints and feeling like, we got to go to Atlanta or we got to go to New York when, there's so much talent here in Charlotte.
Sure.
Like, speak on that.
So I feel like that's kind of everywhere. Of course, I haven't lived everywhere, but I do feel as though that's kind of the same thing in New York, and that's, of course, going on down here. Now, let's, of course, specifically speak on Charlotte. I feel as though people see the success of, let's say, DaBaby, for example. Let's just say him.
Shout out to DaBaby.
Right, shout out to him. I feel like people see the success of him, and that's inspiring, super inspiring, which it should be. And not just him. I feel like people see the success of TikTok influencers or TikTok music artists. So they feel like they have to get put on as quick or based on followers. I just feel like it's a social media thing. And shout out to, SO World, as I was talking to you earlier. Like, he's been saying we have to get back to footwork. So I feel like if people, artists, media outlets, influencers get out, like stop being so caught up into the digital world and get back into the foot world, we would no longer feel as though people are gatekeeping because
the street team.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We're not here. We're not going to be behind our phones just talking, because now we could feel a person's vibe out. Because not every interaction is going to be a good reaction, interaction. Not every follow is going to be beneficial because it's like, okay, we just followed each other. Now what?
Got 10K, 20K followers, and we can't pack a show out.
You know what I mean? Like, and you have to know these things. So an artist might be more beneficial on a smaller platform because it's smaller promoter. Let's say a smaller promoter. I don't even want to say smaller, but a sub promoter, let's say, might be able to bring an audience of 120 people. So it might take an independent artist who would want to get in that room, as opposed to a promoter who could bring out 1,000 spectators, So I feel like people have to know the rooms they are meant to be put in, and people are rushing their time. We don't have to rush. Even with myself, there's times I feel discouraged being here in North Carolina with my platform, but it's like I'm a newbie here. You know,
Speak
granted,
about that. Speak about your platform. I don't think we touched on that enough as far as who you are as the media mogul, Jasmine Taylor, and what do you bring to the Charlotte scene that a lot of people should be checking out?
So, well, I'm Jasmine Taylor TV first and foremost. Formerly, Jasmine's Got the Juice. Now I started transitioning to quality over clout because I feel like that's really what needs to be touched on. Quality over clout. Granted, we care about quantity, but me personally, I care about quality. So my platform, I cater to independent artists, brands, influencers, businesses, whatever it is, I cater to it. I've won an award. I've been nominated for an award. I've thrown numerous informative pop-up shops. I am heard actually internationally, so in the UK, in Africa, in the Caribbean. Yeah, so like I'm really worldwide. You can actually Google Jasmine Taylor TV, quality over clout, and I'll pop up. And I say that in a humbly sense because there's so much that I could say about myself, but I've done so much throughout my 13 years of doing this to where sometimes I even forget. So I just say, you know, try to find something. Because there's times where people, you know, remind me of the things that I've done, you know? So what I feel like I'll bring to the Charlotte scene is just a different demographic to the North Carolinians. My main demographic, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, my main demographic is still New York. As long as I've been in Charlotte for 6 years, a lot of people like, yo, you still sound like you from New. I am from New York.
Yeah, that's not gonna change.
But my accent some people it do change.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change with me because the people I still associate myself with are still from New York City. All my people I talk to on the phone every day is still from New York. You know, so like most I talk to people is at work on my 9 to 5. But aside from that, I feel like I'll bring a different demographic. Like I feel like people need to step outside their comfort zone. So you might not have a certain crowd, or you might not feel like people in Charlotte are supporting you as an artist, as a business, as a influencer, whatever it is that you know consider yourself. But people in New York don't know you. Why don't you try to network with that? If I post you, mostly New Yorkers are gonna see you. You know, so, and even when it comes to New Yorkers, when I first came to North Carolina, shout out to the people from New York who instantly supported me, like, oh snap, Jasmine's on air in Greensboro. I don't have no followers or no supporters in Greensboro. Let me get my song played. Let me get an interview. You know, I had people actually come down to North Carolina from New York to personally get an interview.
That's a fact.
I've
seen it. I witnessed it myself.
Exactly.
Shout out Mo
Shout out to Mo Dub.
Yeah,
you know. So my thing is just about like bridging the gap. I know it sounds so cliche because that's something so many people say, but I genuinely give a fuck. Like my slogan is where the underdogs win. And I say that because I'm an underdog myself. Granted, I won an award, I've been nominated, people know me, like I'm a end quote household name. And I say that humbly because again, people remind me of who the fuck I am. You know? But as a human, we all feel like, damn, I'm not doing enough. And right now, let's take it back to my fucking moment. Because I was a survivor of domestic violence and me coming down here, I had to get the hang of being a grown-ass adult. I'm in my 30s now. I couldn't continue being a popular bum. So if you saw my fucking moment and I stated that I was a popular bum, I couldn't be a popular bum, not get the hang of being an adult, and just so focused on Jasmine Taylor TV, quality over clout. I had to provide stability because if you're no good to yourself, you're no good to nobody. And there's been a lot of times where I'm so like, because I was such a unhealed individual, where I burnt bridges, where there's times I think like, damn, I fucked up. But, you know, anything that's meant for you, it's not going to pass you. You know what I mean? However, you know, I feel like in order to be successful, you have to be successful within yourself and successful within yourself, whatever that means to you. And I'm at a level of success of healing to where, holler at me.
Now, speaking on success,
Yes.
2025, you had mentioned a homie by the name of Esso. Shout out Bag Fuel. Shout out the whole move they got going on. You told me that you recently have joined his school.
Yes.
Can you speak about that and how that's helping you?
So he has an online school. It's every Thursday at 7 p.m. It's $47 a month. And that's only $12 a week.
No, that ain't nothing. Especially for the game that he's probably dropping in
He's been in the industry for 25 plus years. And me subscribing to someone to technically mentor me is something that I've never really done before. But someone who wants to reach a certain level of success always knows when it's okay to be a student. So I'm at that level where it's like, okay, I've been doing it my own way. My own way hasn't been as efficient as I would like it. So if you open your Instagram, if you open YouTube, I'm sure we see SO some way, somehow.
Oh yeah, he's
everywhere.
Moving crazy. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
we need you at the Arc, SO. Come on, slide through next time you're in Charlotte. We're trying to expand the brand.
According to him, there's nothing going on. No, I'm playing. But you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't mind being a student with people who have been in the industry for so long. He's been in the industry for 25 plus years. His best friend is DJ Clue. You know what I mean? So it's like, being from New York, you have to look at those who have come before you. He's come before me. He has a successful business and brand. Come on, he has Bag Fuel. They sponsoring drinks that's in New York City right now, lemonades and something. It's so much they have going on. So when SO sent me the invite to subscribe to his online school, I was like, you know what? This is something I'm going to do because, like I stated, he's everywhere. We see him, whether you know who he is or not. You see him because nowadays podcasts have gone viral. He has one of the top podcasts, Bag Fuel.
And shout out to Heineken.
Right, shout out to Heineken. Oh gosh, shout out to them. So, and they started from This Is 50. So I've been following them for some years, even before This Is 50. So again, you should never be too proud to be a student. And that's what I'm taking from this, being a student and how to strategically, I didn't go to school for being a media host. I just have the personality. I just have the voice. I just have the connections. But as far as the background strategics and things like that, and the marketing and product placement and things like that, that SO has been able to obtain, I'm not a pro at that. I'm not ashamed to say that. And I think that's when the gatekeeping comes, when people feel as though, they might have something. They don't want to say, what, I didn't get that by myself. Somebody put me on. I'm not afraid to say that. So when it comes to someone putting me on, it started off as me being a party promoter when I was a teenager. Big old bundles. All the ladies in New York know who he is. Or throughout New York, throughout America actually, because he does shipping. Big old bundles. He started me off. He was the top promoter. Dizzy Brown, he helped me as well. It's a few other people that introduced me to the lifestyle to where I'm at now. And I don't take that away from them. But I didn't go to school for this, so that's why I'm like, you know what, I'm a student now. And me being a student, I'm not a gatekeeper, so therefore I do have an ebook. I do have an ebook.
Okay, shout it out. Yeah.
Yes, I have an ebook. It's called Mic Check. You can type it in on Amazon because it's available on Kindle and Amazon. It's called Mic Check, Jasmine Taylor TV. Dope. And it's the basics of how to efficiently start up your podcast, because nowadays everyone feels as though, I have an opinion. Let me get a microphone. Let me get a camera.
Right, the game is oversaturated.
It's becoming oversaturated. So I have the basics of how you can start up an efficient podcast, how you can win an award, Yeah. So yes, it's called Mic Check, Jasmine Taylor TV. You can actually type that in on Amazon and it'll take you to Kindle, purchase it. It's not expensive. It's $15. We spend $15. Shoot, I spend $15 on an Uber. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not expensive at all, especially if that's a game. If this is a game that you want to get into, why not? So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. as well as I do a lot of behind the scenes work with just putting the pieces together for different people. Shout out to King PIB. He has Drew Festivals coming up May 30th, as well as an event in New York City. So I do a lot of behind the scenes work. I cater to a lot of women. So it was just Women's History Month. So I do a lot of artist write-ups, and I cater to independent businesses. So if you have something going on, I might want to ask you a few questions and write you up, you know? So that's what I do for now until you see me pop out, and I'm going to pop out and joke.
Now, before you go,
Yes.
give me 5 artists, doesn't matter where they're from, that we should be checking for.
5 artists that we should be
New
checking
York,
for.
it could be Charlotte,
So
it could
we
be-
should be definitely checking for Billy B out of Brooklyn.
She's fire. I love Billy.
Yes.
Yeah. That New York City girl.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
New York City girl.
I love that record. I ain't gonna
There's
lie. She got one with
nothing
that. Yeah.
like a New York City girl. New York City. Nah.
And she looks so happy. Like she looks like she's in her element.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to her. So Billy. I would also say, of course, Mo Dub. He has a strong thing going with
shout out
Same
to my guy,
Heart.
Mo Dub. Yeah, that record is fire. Waiting on you to come back, Mo. What's up?
Yes, independent artist. You fucked me up with that one. Oh, Miss Mary Mack.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, Mary Mack is one of the ones. She got.
Yeah, shout out to Mary
She's
Mack.
been on a hell of a run.
Yes.
Every record is better than the last.
Absolutely.
And it's just, man, when it comes to visual, one thing about her visuals are A1.
I love watching an artist grow. And I see
don't
her
fuck
growth.
around. She takes her craft serious.
Yes.
She's one of the few artists that you can tell when she makes a record, she already has the video in mind. She has what she's going to look. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just has the game plan wrapped around her music, where it's like, oh, man, I love Mary.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it, of course, back to New York. Fergie, baby. Shout out to Harlem World.
Yeah, I just got hip to him a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was late.
It's okay. Better late than never, but never late is better.
Hey, that's a fact. That is a fact.
But yes, Fergie, baby. Shout out to SNS, not the DJ, his son, SNS, Harlem World.
I didn't know that.
Fire, yes.
I didn't know
his son.
that. Okay, because you know
brother.
SNS be out here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's like 5 people I named.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that's 5, yo.
So those are people who I could think of off rip, like. Yeah.
That's a hell of a
shout out
list.
to Just B. He's from Brooklyn, but he's out
Shout
here
out.
in Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's quite a few people that I fuck with. Juby. I cannot forget the people that I fuck
Juby
with.
the guy.
Yeah.
Juby the guy from Chicago. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's out
super
here in
dope,
North Carolina.
Super talented.
So it's a few people. So that was 7.
No, hey, honorable mentions.
I genuinely cater to independent artists. So shout out to everybody. Excuse me, J Prob. Oh my gosh, there's so many people.
Yeah. We don't want to leave nobody out. But.
Right, I don't want to leave anyone out, but it's so many people that I really fuck with. So shout out to everybody. If I didn't mention you, just shout out to everybody who's actually putting in that work. Not just say, oh, well, I got X amount of followers. No, if you're putting in that work, shout out to you, because your work is not going unnoticed, at least not by me.
I think that was a wrap.
Thank you.